What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode, I guess you could say, of Philly sports from the Mighty Kingdom. Obviously, most of the Eagle-related stuff's going to be saved for my Season of the Fan series. But obviously, we have a topic, hot button topic to talk about a little bit. That's the Michael Bennett situation. Listen, we don't have all the information. There really hasn't even been any hard evidence, videos, photos. Apparently, his sister took some video. We don't know exactly what happened or what didn't happen that night. Apparently, if for those of you who know or don't know, that this is something that happened in Super Bowl 51, which was the Patriots versus Falcons. So this wasn't the Eagles Super Bowl versus the Patriots. This is the year before when the game was at Houston at NRG Stadium. Apparently, allegedly, Michael Bennett went through a doorway he wasn't supposed to go through to get onto the field to celebrate with his brother, Martellus Bennett, who was a Patriot at the time, to go after the game and celebrate with him and family. Apparently, some of the security detail there did not want him to get through the door because it was a door you weren't supposed to go through. He went through it anyhow, allegedly knocked over a paraplegic 66-year-old woman in a wheelchair. We don't know. Again, there really isn't any video or anything, and I just find that a little strange. I mean, you're talking about one of the biggest sporting events in the world, the Super Bowl, and there's no video of this anywhere, pictures. Maybe something comes out, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say this didn't happen or this did happen because I don't know. I wasn't there, obviously. There's no photographic video of this. In a day and age where everything gets photoed, even I heard on the radio yesterday, if it's a door, a security door, they all are monitored with security cameras. So why was there no video or photo of this? Now maybe it turns out there was. We really don't know. This is still kind of a developing story as far as we're concerned. Not quite a developing story in Houston. They've known about this for quite a while. Apparently this was on their docket for quite a while. I really do question, and I understand that there were more heinous events and things that happen that do take preference. Murders, crimes of that nature. Obviously, Hurricane Harvey, which was a horrendous event there. And shout out to all the people in Houston who have recovered from that. And the people who still haven't, hopefully you recover soon. That obviously is going to take preference over everything, okay? You're talking about the damage and lives lost and everything with that. But we're talking about the night of Super Bowl 51 after the Patriots won. You're talking about that night. And one of the reporters did a great follow-up question to this sheriff, which, by the way, the sheriff did no favors to his department with that whole indictment of Michael Bennett. The 20-plus minutes that he went on and on about how the people like Michael Bennett, who are athletes that think they can get away with things, they really can't. We eventually find you. We track you down. I mean, it really smelled of the police having that personal vendetta against Mike Bennett because of what happened in Las Vegas, and he has a book coming out. It just, there's a lot that kind of went into that. That was very emotionally fueled, that whole statement, that whole talking to the media that the sheriff did. And in a way, that's very, I don't want to say unprofessional, but it was unprofessional what he did. He basically threw his department under the bus. He basically, just the way he did it. I mean, that's a 5-minute statement. We don't have all the evidence. We're still collecting evidence, but we've had this on the docket for a number of time. Now we got the go ahead to issue the warrant, and that's basically all you have to do. You don't have to go on in a soapbox for 20 minutes and kind of hammer the point down that it was a 66-year-old paraplegic woman. We understand that. We got that the first few times he said that, and he kept saying it. If the 66-year-old paraplegic woman, if her injury was that heinous, was that important to your department, why was it not handled that night? And one of the follow-up questions by a reporter, a very, very good one, was, why did the Tom Brady jersey getting stolen become the top thing that you and your department, and by the way, Texas Rangers had to be called on? I mean, talk about the top of the top. The Texas Rangers had to be called on to find the guy who stole the jersey. Well, why couldn't you get a couple of those Texas Rangers to detain Michael Bennett? I mean, it makes no sense. You're talking about assault. You're talking about an assault of an elderly woman, which in Texas terms is 10 years prison, whatever. Why is that not more important than Tom Brady's jersey getting stolen? Basically, his answer to that was, well, it was a security breach. Someone was able to get into the Patriots locker room. Okay. So some guy was able to break down a door, push over an elderly woman in a wheelchair, basically have verbal confrontation with one of your officers. And the officer did nothing to try to detain him at that point. Michael Bennett just storms by, gets to his brother. You know where he is in the stadium. He's not a hard man to find. If you really want to find him, you can find him. Okay? But the Tom Brady jersey getting stolen took preference because, well, that was a security breach. Well, Michael Bennett, that wasn't a security breach? To the point that security of NRG Stadium was trying to stop him? Again, it just doesn't add up. There's something wrong here. And I'm not trying to sound insensitive, believe me. This is the last thing I want to do is to try to sound insensitive to the elderly, to people who are in handicapped situations. My mom's elderly, okay? I have to take care of her too, So I know what it is. And I don't want to sound insensitive, to these people. But my problem here is with the Houston police. My problem here is with people who were in law enforcement who had an opportunity to take care of this right there and then and didn't. And they waited, and maybe there were reasons why after that night that you couldn't handle this. Other things come up. There's more heinous crimes, obviously, that happen every day. Hurricane Harvey. There's a lot of reasons. But then, if I remember correct, this apparently went on the docket last September. And you mean to tell me from last September to now you couldn't issue an arrest warrant for Michael Bennett? To the point that the Houston Texans went to Seattle to play the Seahawks this year, you couldn't put some officers or people in law enforcement on that plane to issue the arrest warrant and detain him right then and there? That you waited this long until March? A full season went by. Another Super Bowl was played, which the Eagles won. And you wait until he not only the next season starts, but he gets his roster bonus. Again, I'm not saying that this didn't happen. I don't want to sound insensitive to this. I'm not talking as an Eagles fan, this is an Eagles player, I'm defending him. Because Michael Bennett, again, has not played it down as a Philadelphia. He has not practiced as a Philadelphia Eagle to this point. Okay? I'm not trying to come across as that. But I have seen plenty of other instances with other athletes who have been arrested, who have, served jail time, who have, what have you. Even if they didn't, if they were fined or what have you. There is physical evidence. There is photos. There is videos of them doing these crimes. What Michael Bennett allegedly did, to this point, we don't have photos. We don't have videos. How do you not have photos or videos of this at a Super Bowl? It's near impossible. And again, I'm not saying that this didn't happen. For all we know, it could have been an accident. We don't know, and people come across as that, well, they know. Well, they don't know. I don't know, okay? The sheriff doesn't know, obviously. Again, there's a lot of holes in this story. There's a lot of things that just on the outside looking in, it just looks like someone wants a payday. Someone or some people want a payday. And that's what it is. They know Michael Bennett is wealthy. He's been in the public eye. He's had issues with law enforcement in the past. And now this is basically, well, now we're going to show him type of deal. This could have been handled the night of Super Bowl 51. It wasn't. So it obviously wasn't important enough to them then, but now it is. There's still stuff that has to come out. We're going to let the process play itself out. Okay, he's going to turn himself in, go through that. He'll post bail. There'll be a court hearing, court date, go through that situation, and then we'll see. Let's let this thing play out before we pass our ultimate judgment. But what I hope is that if there isn't any evidence, like a photo, like video, comes out for this, I would hope that they're just not making an example out of Michael Bennett and saying, well, okay, because he had this in the past, now we're going to really get him. there's a lot of directions you can go with this, and I'm not going to go in those directions, okay? Because it is. You're walking that tightrope, you know? And I myself am someone who I know it has got to be really difficult, you know, to be in law enforcement. It's not something I could do, okay? I'm not cut out for that. You know, I couldn't be in the military. I couldn't be in law enforcement. It's just not in my DNA. It's not how I tick, you know? So I have a lot of respect for the men and women who do. And I'm not trying to sound a certain way with this, but there's just too much with this story that doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. First and foremost, why this wasn't handled right there and then that night. You're talking about physical assault. I don't care where he is in the stadium. You find him. You know, if an assault was occurred, that takes priority over Tom Brady's jersey getting stolen. Okay, it just does. And if the sheriff wants to come out and talk about the order of things, and okay, well, murders and hurricane and everything was more, I don't want to say more important, but was the bigger things they had to handle. When you talk about that night of Super Bowl 51, there was an assault occurred, and there was a jersey that got stolen. And you mean to tell me that the jersey was more, but that took priority. That was the bigger thing. See, it's counteracting what, you know, basically what he's saying. He's saying things, but how they acted on this, there's no balance. You know, it's counterintuitive to what he just said. You know, it counteracts what he just said. Well, the murders and everything took priority. Okay, but the night of, Tom Brady's jersey took priority over an assault of a 66-year-old paraplegic woman. I'm sorry. There's just way too many holes in this thing. Something's not adding up. Not adding up. I could be completely wrong. You know, they could go, all this evidence could start coming out. There could be video that they just have been holding, and you know, we'll be able to see it at that point. You know, okay, but without that, I don't know. I don't know. If he was really rampaging through people and through a door, that's got to take priority over Tom Brady's jersey getting stolen. And there was a cop apparently that witnessed this or was in the area and tried to, you know, hey, you know, stop. And Michael Bennett basically told him to F you and walked by him. And the cop just took it. I don't know. I don't know. If you're in law enforcement and there's an assault occurred, you have to detain the individual that caused the assault. That's your job. And this cop apparently didn't do it. Okay, or I don't know if he was there, if he was, you know, came up and walked on the situation afterwards. I really don't know. But to me, that's just what happened there. You know, then he got called away because of Tom Brady's jersey got stolen? Oh, well, I'm sorry, ma'am. I can't help you right now. I have to take care of Tom Brady. Tom Brady's jersey got stolen, so I got to help him. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. Okay? And again, I don't want to sound like, oh, this is the Eagles fan talking about an Eagles player. Because there's been plenty of Eagles players over the years that have done things and been, you know, gotten in trouble and were off the team. I didn't want Riley Cooper on the team after what he did. You know, with the racial slurs at the country music concert. I didn't want him still here, you know. And there was video. There was sound of him doing that, you know. And I thought it was ridiculous that at the time, it was Chip Kelly, they're getting rid of Deshaun Jackson, and they're keeping Riley Cooper. I thought that was the most ridiculous thing. Okay, I'm not just talking about Riley Cooper in a contribution factor, you know, athletic factor. You're getting rid of a guy who was much more a player than Riley Cooper for basically no reason. Yet you keep Riley Cooper after the racial slurs. Like I just no. So if an Eagle does something wrong and deserves to be punished, I'm going to let you know. Yeah, that guy deserves to be punished. That guy's a you know, we don't need him on the team. Okay. So I don't want this to come out that way. And again, I'm not trying to sound insensitive to the 66-year-old paraplegic woman, but I also do question the NRG security detail. Why are you putting this 66-year-old paraplegic woman in a situation where something like that could even happen? Why are you having her in charge of a door? Why? There's just way too many things about this situation that just doesn't smell right, you know? And there's a lot of blame and a lot of fault that be thrown around, okay? So my take on it, again, and I've gone over 15 minutes with this, but until more evidence is produced, I'm going to reserve judgment, you know? And I'm not trying to defend Michael Bennett because he's an Eagle. It's just, in the world we live in, it's all about visual evidence. Just like people watch YouTube videos, right? Visual evidence. Okay, we need that. And in a court of law, you need that too. In some ways, that's why some criminals get away with things, because there is no visual evidence. You know, there's nothing that you can really produce. There's no photo, there's no video of it happening. And again, if a tree falls in the woods and doesn't make it, and there's no one around to see it or hear it, does it make a sound that it actually happened? You know, and in no way am I condoning crime or saying, well, if you can get away with it, if there's no video or photo, you can do whatever you want. But we are living in a world, in an era where social media is so big, nothing gets unseen. If something happens, people are going to know. So with the fact that there is no video or photo that we know of, besides the video that his sister took, let's just reserve judgment on this. Because there are things about this situation and how they're handling it in Houston with the police department that just isn't adding up. It's just not. Something is amiss. Something is amiss. At least that's my take on it. That's my opinion. And I'm not anti-police, you know, and I'm not pro, oh, well, you can push over whoever you want if you're an athlete. No. You know, the law, that's for anyone, is for you too. There's things you can't do. There's things you shouldn't do. You're talking just a humanistic nature. You don't push over an elderly woman in a wheelchair. Why? This is some sort of accident. You know, things happen. But to do it purposefully, no, that's completely wrong. That's just being a bad human, you know. So let's let this thing play out. We don't have all the info at this point besides what we heard. There might be more things that come out. Let's let this thing play out and see what happens. And I am sure if this, you know, occurs and you know, he's sentenced or whatever, the Eagles will take appropriate measures, you know, at that regard. So that's my take on that situation. It's still a fluid situation. There's still stuff coming out. This is just first blush reaction to it. We'll see. There's things that I just don't think are adding up, but we'll have to wait and see how this thing plays out. So there you go. Other than that, obviously, which is the big topic of conversation, obviously, in Philly sports, we got Villanova playing a big game tonight in the Elite Eight against Texas Tech. And if they win that game, they go back to the Final Four for the first time since, well, a few years ago when they won the national championship. We know that Loyola Chicago, hey, you know what? I know it's not a Philly-related thing, but how about that ride, boy? That's a great story. Loyola Chicago, the Ramblers, yet again, advanced. They're in the Final Four. Michigan is in the Final Four as well, so they're the two on the one side of the bracket there in the Final Four, if you will. No, I didn't have either of them in there, but they're there. Villanova, hopefully we can get a big win again today against Texas Tech. And again, if they win, they will go to the Final Four, and then it's the winner of pretty big matchup there, Kansas and Duke, two teams that have been there before. They play one another, and the winner of that game, if Villanova does win, will play Villanova in the Final Four for the right to play for the national championship. Very cool. Looking forward to it. Villanova's played great this tournament. They're on a run like they were a few years ago, which we know how that ended up with the Chris Jenkins shot. They beat North Carolina in the championship. Looking forward to the game. Looking forward to hopefully seeing another Nova win. So V for Villanova, V for victory. Let's get another victory today en route to the Final Four in San Antonio. And last time the Final Four was in Texas, Villanova won. So they like going to Texas. So Villanova plays today. It's about 2:20ish or whatever Eastern time. The Flyers, a big game today at Pittsburgh. Didn't get a lot of help last night. A lot of teams you kind of wanted to see not getting any points got points. So it wasn't a great night hockey-wise for us. But, it's a tough game at Pittsburgh. The Penguins have given the Flyers all sorts of trouble this year. And, look, they're a good team. They're a two-time defending Stanley Cup champ, as much as we don't like to, be reminded about that around here with Sidney Crosby. But it's a tough team playing in their building and their barn, as it were, for hockey. So the Flyers have to come out with effort. They have to come out and get this win. They got to win. Big 2 points. My buddy Mark M was there the other night, Thursday night, against the Rangers. Tough game. I told you it would be tough. It was difficult. It was a 4-3 win, I believe. And the Flyers were able to eke it out against the Rangers. So they're going to have a little bit of a tougher opponent tonight. This afternoon, actually, a national televised game on NBC against the Penguins. So we'll see what happens there. Sixers continue to go in the winning ways. They beat the Wolves last night. Another convincing win after they had a couple convincing wins against the Grizzlies and the Magic. They have won now 6 in a row. They keep climbing up the ladder in the Eastern Conference standings, which is really good to see. A couple of those teams below them, though, they won also last night. So, got to keep getting those W's. They play again tomorrow against the Denver Nuggets, another one of those teams in the Western Conference trying to get into the playoffs. So it'll be an interesting game again. The game, again, is at Wells Fargo Center, where the Sixers have been awesome all year. And if the playoffs were to start today, the Sixers would be the 4 seed, I believe, and they would host I believe it would be the Pacers, or one of those teams right there. I don't have the standings right in front of me, but I think it would be the Pacers. And with the fact the Sixers are a very good home team this year, that's good news. So we got to keep climbing that ladder, keep in that position to get that home court advantage, at least for the first round, and then that momentum can take you from there. So the Sixers, another big game tomorrow night against the Denver Nuggets at Wells Fargo Center. The Flyers embark on this road trip right now. They're playing again today at Pittsburgh, and then they go to, as I mentioned in the last video, they go to Dallas and Colorado. 3 tough games on the road, and then Boston awaits them here. So you talk about 4 tough games right there. That's a tough stretch, and the Flyers are fighting for their playoff lives right now. So let's hope they keep getting wins or points in this road trip, and we'll see what happens by that game against Boston next weekend. All right, everyone. Well, that's it. Going to do it for now. I think I touched on everything. Obviously, baseball season starting Thursday. The Phillies will play at Atlanta to start the season. As I said before, Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phils versus Julio Teheran for the Braves. That's the matchup on opening day in Atlanta. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the Phillies season. I really am. And I will have a video coming out probably Thursday as the start of the season about the Phillies season and what my expectations are for the season. And looking forward to getting back to baseball and warmer weather. Boy, I see some snow flurries out there. I don't want to see any more snow. I really don't. I'm looking forward. I want it to be spring weather. I want the warmer weather and not too hot. I'm one of those people. I like the spring and I like the fall. Because the weather is just right. The summer it's too hot. The winter it's too cold and snow removal and right? So give me the spring and give me the fall. All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching. Again, I did not want to sound insensitive with the Michael Bennett situation, with the elderly, with people in law enforcement, with people in handicapped situations. But my first blush to this and just how it's all being presented right now, there's just a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes in this story. There's a lot of things that just don't sound right. It's that eye test. It's that smell test. There's just something not right. And we'll see. Let's let the situation play out before we really pass any ultimate judgment on this. That's I guess my main point to this. Let's let the situation present itself, and we'll see how it all shakes out and goes down. So all right, everyone, thanks for watching. Let's go Nova! Big win today, hopefully for the Elite Eight, going back to the Final Four for the second time in 3 years, which is pretty cool. And then we got the big game in Pittsburgh today, Flyers, Penguins. Let's go Flyers. Let's go Nova. Let's go Sixers tomorrow. And the Phillies start their 2018 season in Atlanta on Thursday afternoon against the Braves. Go Phils. All right, everyone. I'll see you guys in the next vid. Take care.